I don't have any questions. No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, I do have one question. On this map, you've got the dotted line. Now, looking at the county assessor site, that strip of land, when you click on it, it doesn't designate there's an owner to it. So is that a dedicated easement that filed a record, or do you know?
That I don't know for sure. From what we could tell, it may be kind of an anomaly. We've kind of come across these in other places on the county assessor's website. So I'm hoping the property owner can
Okay.
kind of give us some guidance there, but from what we could tell, that wasn't an actual easement that's there. It should be part of her property. But I'll let her speak to that. Hopefully she has more information because we couldn't find any additional information. So I can kind of understand why you have the confusion.
So this building is actually on that tract of land that shows no owner.
Right. That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Ms. Hart?
That, where the dotted line is, that is my property. That's not an easement. It is, property runs right all the way back to the back, across that shed to the back of the fence to the property, which I believe is 99.9 altogether, the property in front and back. So that is not an easement.
Is it, but on the county assessor side, it doesn't show any, it shows that you're the owner of your property.
Yes,
And then the property to the east, it shows who the property owner is. And I believe there's which is an LLC. And then the property to the west.
on the east, LLC.
Yeah, an LLC owns it according to the county assessor. The county assessor,
Well,
county
it'd
assessor
be,
records are wrong.
on the map, it'd be the fourth house down, who is a farmer. He owns all the track back behind there. And he runs cattle on that. All the way over far east where there's the house, the buildings, several outbuildings. He owns behind me, all the four houses, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm the last one to the west. The farmer owns them all that. So he owns up to my fence line.
Okay, it says that the owner name was 20171 Southeast 15th Street, LLC.
Gotta be the farmer.
That would be your property right next door to you to the east. Okay, that's even better.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay,
I think it, she is abutted here.
yeah, and I think the process, can you come up here just for a second? If you, this is what the county.
We weren't sure if there was like maybe an egress there that was granted for the farmer to access his property.
Well, he never comes over here. I have to change them.
Is the chain link up to the red line or the white one?
Yeah. Can we hear her in terms of making a record of all this?
That is on the white. Yeah, right on the white.
Okay.
So you think the white line is your property line? Yeah. Okay, but not the red line. Okay.
Okay. I really,
But she's saying this white line is her property line, not the red line.
yeah, but there's that rectangle in between. And, who owns it, according to county assessor, they don't show any ownership.
Oh.
When
So
you,
that could be his or mine.
That's an issue, like I said, we run across as staff, I don't want to say often,
I see it.
but a decent amount of time to where it may be something that was put there in error. That's why there's no information that's associated with it. So don't take the assessor as the holy grail, if you will,
Sure.
because we find errors all the time. It's
Sure.
just kind of a representation of what's supposed to be out there. So my guess would be is that in this particular case, that easement that you guys see there is not actually supposed to be there. It's all her property. It was just something that was probably drawn in when they drew it in
That-
error.
That's an assumption that we're making.
Right,
correct?
that is an assumption, right.
Okay.
But typically, what we do on our end, if we have a question like this, we'll go and try to find that actually in the
Right.
records in the county clerk's office.
Have, Ms. Hart, have you been to the county assessor's office? Because they have great people there to track this stuff down, and they may, if it's a mistake on the description, they can correct that.
That or is your survey when you purchase the property
That's it, yeah, a survey.
would probably be the thing I would rely on.
But I know this shed right there is a good 20 feet from the house to the fence is a good. We just measured it 25, it's more than 40 feet. It's about 50 feet from the house to that red line and from my shed. The shed is almost directly behind it.
So,
It's about 50 feet to the fence.
so one of the things that we do when she submits her application, she provides us the deed of the property. So we also looked at the deed and the legal description fits the entire piece. So
Great.
that easement, but again, I don't think that's an error.
Okay.
So don't hold her to that.
You said on that building that's already there, you're not sure what you're gonna do with it yet, or? Is there any reason why you couldn't build this ancillary building further east on your property?
If I move that building and put the one I want there, I have, well, in septic system, I have lines there and I can't put
Your lateral lines are there.
lateral lines that are right off to the side, and that's just, take up, go into the lateral lines, because I have, it's a 4-bedroom house with 3 baths, and so there's 5 lateral lines. In the center off to, you almost can see them in the picture, where they're at. So I don't know, I'd have to move more, if I put it directly behind my house, could move that building and the width of it, 24, my shed's not, the width of that building is not 24, so it'd go more over to the west side. If I had to move, I couldn't move it more to the east. I don't think so.
Because of your lateral lines? But if you,
I
But-
could,
when will you make a determination as to whether or not you're gonna,
so I guess,
uh,
I guess,
How,
it will depend on what you tell me now, I can move that
That-
building, and I could put my big one there, but the purpose of having the building where what is, was I wanted to access for garage storage to get into my house without getting wet. Cause I don't have a garage attached to my house, so this is gonna be my garage storage, I was going to access to my back door. There.
If it helps kind of facilitate
Yeah.
the process, we can work with her just to make sure that there's an easement or not an easement that's there. So we can still work with her outside of this meeting to make sure whatever that, if that exists
is
or
it
not.
possible to get a survey to see where the lateral lines are?
The lateral
Or
lines,
have it marked or something? 'Cause
the
if-
lateral lines is something that's kept by the Department of Environmental Quality, so that they would have a record of where, kind of a general idea of where they are there on the property.
this says that it's a setback, that 25 feet is a setback.
Correct.
But the county assessor just has it as no man's land.
Right, so they're saying it's an easement, but in our case, what we're saying is all of that is her property.
Part of the legal.
Right,
description.
and so that's something that we're gonna have to obviously do some more research on, but even if that's the case, if it is an easement, obviously she couldn't build in that. But if you did approve her, you grant her
Variance.
variance in this particular case, one, it's allowing her to build the building, period. Because right now the property itself is non-conforming because it's less than 2 acres. So that's one issue that you're addressing. The other issue is the setback issue. Now, if you grant her the variance, and let's say there's an easement there, and she has to be further to the east, sure, it's been granted, but she's not going to take advantage of it in this case because there's an easement there, as an example. So because you grant her the easement doesn't mean she has to utilize that. To me, the biggest issue in this case is the fact that she has less than the required amount of property, which makes her property just non-conforming, period. So just to kind of expand upon that a little bit more, if her house was burned down or a tornado, to build back, she would have to come to this board just to build back. So we've had a similar case of this back to the east. It was one of these 4 pieces of property some time ago now, to where it was a similar variance. So because you give her a variance to the setback, doesn't mean she has to utilize that. She can still put that building wherever she's allowed to put it. Really, like I said, the main issue with just being able to put the building on her property, period, is
And
kind of
this
the
is-
bigger issue.
This isn't in any city limits. It's not in Harris city limits.
Right, it's the county's jurisdiction.
Okay.
Do we show on record there's a house, skip one, 2 houses down that has an annex building behind it already? Do we know if that variance was approved or requested?
Right, that was a variance that came through this body quite some time ago and it was approved.
Yeah.
I don't recall if it was from her house, if it was the second property to the east or the third, that I don't recall.
But I'd want to get that cleared up.
Okay, so it was, okay. Okay. So yes, I think she's correct. If you look at the picture that we have here, the outbuilding that you see on that particular piece of property, so if you count her property, it would be the third one as you go to the east. That outbuilding that you see there was not an issue with the setbacks with that building. The issue was because they had less than 2 acres, so they had to bring the property into conformance by getting a variance from that requirement by this body, which was approved. So that's the difference between this case and that case.
At some point in time, I think you're going to have to address that. I mean, I don't have, well, the legal description, does it say?
So if there is an easement there,
How,
she'll if she wants to continue to put it there, and if there is a road easement there, she would have to get it vacated before she could put the building there. So by you approving the variance, if she goes through that process and gets that road easement vacated, then it still gives her the opportunity to build within these requirements that we've stated. If she cannot get that road easement vacated, then she cannot build there, period. But it would still give her an opportunity to build an outbuilding on the property. She would just have to be beyond that easement. And if she's beyond that easement, it's not a setback issue, period, for us. It really just boils down to a non-conformance issue because her property doesn't meet the 2 acre minimum.
Could we approve the building and forego approving the setback request?
Yes, you would just have to state that in your motion that you're going to approve the non-conformance to make it to where her property is conforming to place the outbuilding. But then you would also have to state that you're not going to approve the setback request. You could go that route if that's what this body would like to do. Right, you would have to be 25 feet from your property line, which is still the farthest piece to the west. But more than likely, that road easement that there is probably 33 feet would be my guess. So you're gonna be beyond that.
Did you measure that? Did it come, did you,
They're about the same.
200
This
feet?
one, Yeah,
okay,
across you mean? or-
yes, across,
The farmer used to own all of that.
yeah, just across.
This one. It's just 137 with that, with that one side, but then the whole thing.
But how about the one, the one that, how far is it from, width on just her property? From there to where, on this side? To,
From here to there.
no,
or-
from here
Mhm.
to here. It gets in your way sometimes, doesn't it?
It's like, freaking right.
I believe I'm across the front of my property. The neighbor.
Oh, that did the whole thing, okay.
Yeah. What's it say?
I could put, 167.
This is 167. Well,
We don't, if we include the easement.
if we include these, well, your legal description says 165, so it probably does include that, and it's probably an error of the county assessor then. But I'd get that squared away. And if you could just go down to the third floor, not today, or today if you want to, at some point in time, and just, but well, your legal description says it's 165 feet.
And we'll
And
do,
I think
we'll
the
do
depth is
additional,
660.
we'll do additional research just to help her along, just that way she doesn't get caught into some other issue.
Does the county have any issue with the fact that that this proposed building is just 6 foot set off of the property line, if that is?
No, not in this case. I mean, if it was next to one of our section line roads or something like that, it would be a bigger issue for us. But,
This is an interior piece of property.
right,
too.
right.
Okay. You have
Thank-
any? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
We're gonna,
Well,
we'll let you
we're-
know in just a
we're-
minute.
we're gonna,
Yeah.
if you have anything else, you can. Okay. Do you have any other questions or anything?
I don't think so.
You wanna? City have anything?
No, we're good.
Just waiting on us?
Did you have any comments? Okay. I didn't know if you were here for the meeting or just to observe. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
No, they're the only ones. I don't think there's anybody else here.
Then
that
I would entertain a
speak.
motion.
I make a motion to approve the variance request.
I second.
Ms. Arsenal,
Aye.
Mr. Goodman,
Aye.
item's been approved. And like I said, we'll do some more research on our side into the road easement. We have your application and everything. Let us take a look at it tomorrow, and then we'll get back with you just to make sure there's no issue there.
And that would be important because if there is egress there to that agricultural land and you put your building there, and then we would never want you to go through the cost of having to move it. And rightfully, they would have that right to have you do that. And so it's really important before you build that to make sure that that's taken care of.
Ma'am? How long have you lived there?
2009, October 2009.
2009? Well, you're just on the cusp or have just exceeded, the requirement for adverse possession to make a claim that way, 15 years of notorious hostile continuous use, so. But I think you're safe because your legal description says 165 feet. And from the corner, as just
Yeah.
measured to the outside corner of the alleged easement or whatever it is, it's 100, she measured 167 feet, so,
I mean, I'm not perfect
so,
in the range.
yeah, but that's on, but that's doing it on the computer, so it's probably yours without doing all that. It's just that the county assessor, when people look at it, they're gonna say, well, wait, here's a strip of land, probably even your next door neighbor to the west that has that property. He runs cattle on it, you say? Well,
The whole area. I don't know how far it's back over onto, I'm on 15E, on back to Dobbs about a mile.
your risk probably isn't very great to just go ahead and do what you want to, quite
Yeah, the
honestly.
risk is his cattle come over on my property.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We're not done. We haven't adjourned yet. Okay, next item on the agenda is any new business. The city have any new our county have any new business for us?
No, sir.
Then we have an adjournment of the meeting. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
Ms.
Aye.
Arsenal,
aye.
you're adjourned.
Very good. Thank you.